Welcome back to the Project Zero relief shelter for those without a stable home, without family, and mixture of slice of life and in real life put together. I'm just gonna dive right into it. We have some urgent topics to cover because of health-related matters, and I didn't think this would happen, but something always manages to pop up. Of course, what we were doing at the time was some reaction Inception to Studio Gek and Attack on Titan, just previous to this episode, and then even before that and ongoing, we're still going to continue the second marathon for podcasting. But throughout the day, we also did some administrative stuff that I wanted to cover, and that involves the turning up something that just appeared within the past 6 to 8 hours. So we'll get to that probably. Basically, there's something wrong with my eardrums. I believe it's probably because I may have torn or ruptured an eardrum. So on my left hand side right here. So we'll get to this in a moment, because on the bottom right hand graphic right here, what you'll see is where it's some weather, right? We'll also talk a little bit about, however, some research. So we'll cover some daily topics that we did, some chores outside. I know it didn't sound particularly exciting, but then it also manages to cover the more interesting, and maybe, I say interesting, but it's clearly, if this is a health issue, then maybe it's should be taken a little bit more seriously. Well, I am taking it more seriously, but the point is, it's still an interesting topic to cover, so it's health related, right? Learning about hepatitis, and actually, I have a bit of hypochondriasis, so I typically tend to, well, not so much anymore, but in my past, what I used to do was I used to get a little paranoid, and we'd go down the rabbit hole. I think everyone's done this before. They get alarmed, they get some alarming symptoms, and then they go ham with it with their imagination. They do the research, and then after finding out about the potential worst case scenario, they kind of go crazy. And well, you don't go crazy, but I mean, it's at the back of your mind. Oh, what if this is something severe or serious? So that's basically what I just spent some time on doing for, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours before I went to sleep, and I just got up, and it's still here. So we'll get to that. All right, so I anticipate that's about 2 videos, and then so one will be covering some physical items on the side, and then this one will be covering or podcast, if you're not watching but listening, we'll be covering weather and where we went, the purchases, some plans, and what we're going to do to what we may have to do to address what's happening to the eardrum on the left hand side. So let's just get started here. In the backdrop here, we have the Google weather. So we just Google weather today, want to see if it was raining, sunny, all that kind of stuff. And no, it was just fine. I was anticipating today because the past actually couple days have been really, really warm, almost 30 degrees Celsius, about 25 degrees Celsius. But I'm not really dressed appropriately. I'm still dressed for the winter. If you take a look at me, I look like some kind of Siberian black wolf just got tossed out from Moscow into the suburban bright green grass and sunny I don't know, sidewalk. So it's just a real mismatch, because I'm still dressed for winter and I know it's spring, so I just ended up checking out for that. I was looking forward to this week because I noticed that for at least 3 days, it's going to be around 10 degrees to 0 degrees Celsius, so that's just a little bit chilly, and gives me a little bit more justifiable reason to wear something that's a little heavy. But I recognize I'm going to actually have to take it off soon, probably this week, and end up washing it and then putting it away in the closet for good until fall comes by. All right, so that's some administrative stuff. A little bit of laundry. I didn't expect to talk about that. Here's other things related to weather. I feel like a weather broadcaster, or like a weatherman right now. But you can see our current temperatures in my area is like around 0 to, well, that's because it's at night. But I mean, point is that during the day, it's not 29. It was 29 the previous week, and it's more like around 13, 10, 8. That's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, Also on the side here, you can see the broadcasting station talks a little bit about something that I used to always wonder about. The Phantom of the Opera closes on Broadway after 35 years or whatever. I have never been to Broadway theaters or anything like that sort, but it's just one of those things that is a real throwback of me watching their commercials on television, on TV, although nobody really watches television anymore. But before, right, when we would watch television, watch TV, there'd be a commercial of the Phantom of the Opera. All right, so let's put that away. I didn't think I'd be talking about theater either, but it is what it is. Weather, news, okay. We spent some time here also when I was a little bit alarmed after I got back from doing groceries today, and then hearing what's in my ear. I think I spent about an hour just kind of sort of binging away, which is, I'm not supposed to do that. I just ended up eating food that I wasn't supposed to eat, just some junk, and then watching some kung fu, traditional, I don't know, martial arts type videos. Tony Jaa, that one's from, he's a really good Muay Thai. I mean, not Muay Thai, but a very specific version. What's like Muay something, but it's a more native version of Muay Thai. Anyways, the point is we ended up just not really focusing before we went to sleep. So here's some things that are, now we're going to, let's head over to the main thing that is garnering my attention right now, because I can't seem to wrap my head around this right now, since I usually have either my headphones on, trying to edit the podcasts, right? So I'm a little concerned that I won't be able to do as much editing, or I have to be more careful about the audio that's playing back into the headphones, because I don't want to, worsen the symptoms. I don't know if it's ear infection. I'm just, it could be, it might not be. So let's go take a look here. All right, so first thing I searched up was not this, actually, it was over here. Was it there? Yeah. So reverberating sound in ear. Now it's actually on the bed. Let me see the time. Let's see how much time we have to talk about this stuff, because I noticed there's a lot of text here. All right, so occlusion effect. Oh, before we get to this, I also want to mention quickly, we have also made some adjustments to the production, so that's also some kind of administrative task like stuff. But you know what? Never mind. Let's just skip that and save that for the more technical side of. No, let's do it. Let's do it now. So, in addition to all that stuff, we also tinkered around a little bit with the production side. So we changed the graphic a little bit here because, we added a new image source, all right, on the browser, and I'm going to showcase to you right now what that is. It's just we added the new image source, and that's what you're seeing right now, which is the Chinese graphic. But usually I only have one image source, and then I would have to switch manually by switching the image, going to the image file location, and then double clicking. Now I have two image sources, and both of them have been set to a different graphic, a different image. So I can just quickly, if I just decide to have one graphic over the other, I can either mute it, make it invisible on OBS Studio, or I can just flop it back and forth on the layout. In fact, I'm going to switch over to display scene so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Right, so let's turn over to the side. You can see basically there is you can't see it, never mind. I didn't add it to this scene. Never mind, sorry guys. The point is there are two sources of two image sources, and I'm just swapping between back and forth, okay? Instead of having to dive into the file path directory and then swapping it and searching for the file. All right, in addition, because of that, not because of that, the reason why we decided to switch that is because we ended up turning off the LUT. So if we go to filters, I guess we'll go to display again. So we'll go to display, we go to one of the cameras here, so the small link, and go to filters. We turned off the LUT, right? And typically we have this LUT here, which is the Brooks filter from Gaming Careers channel. Again, he does a lot of great stuff for live streaming. But the point is I turned it off because, and it's all chained together. So first of all, I uninstalled Cyberlink YouCam. And I've been using this for the past week, I've mentioned, and we did a little bit of tutorial on this the previous week. For me, in that case, it's just really a couple of days ago, like 2 days ago when we did that tutorial. But it was just too taxing on my laptop, given that the laptop right now has so many browsers and tabs open. Plus, on top of that, it's just it crashed and then supposed to repair, but we didn't end up going to repair it. So that's something else that ended up happening. So overall, I uninstalled Cyberlink, right? So I uninstalled Cyberlink. And then because of that, I also recognized that the lighting, the auto adjustment lighting and the special effects that they had done to kind of brighten up, increase the lighting artificially, was gone, right? That was one of those like effects that was kind of keeping me riding with the program, made me want to continue using the program, even though it was more taxing on my computer. And I noticed it was very taxing because I can tell from HWin that the temperature raises by about 5 to 10 degrees Celsius on the laptop from about 60, like low 60s to low 70s. And that's considerable, right? That can eventually lead to thermal throttling. It happens already, even without that camera software. But if we apply it, all the more likely, and it happens all the time, where it was affecting the quality of the videos. So the podcast, for the podcasters listening, you guys can't really hear a difference because it's all audio. But visually speaking, if you go to the video side of it, or you watch the video podcast, you'll notice that it's just choppy frames all the way throughout. Sometimes it's just a freeze frame slideshow. It got that bad. So we uninstalled YouCam, and because of that, it took away the lighting. Since it took away the lighting, it was affecting the chroma key and the backdrop, as well as also just the general outlook, right? The subject, which is me and like the chair and the microphone. So we ended up going to the filters. So let's go to display once again. Troubleshooting. I didn't think we'd be talking so much about filters and stuff like this and production related material. But you can see here the chroma key. We had to, tinker around with the chroma key, the LUTs, the color correction, and color grading. We had to learn how to use these OBS inherent plugins, not inherent, but the install plugins that we have from that we're not usually familiar with. I had actually just learned about them by tinkering with those sorts of effects over on Cyberlink YouCam. So the irony is I didn't learn how to tinker with those in OBS Studio. And a lot of the things that I had done in Cyberlink YouCam can actually just be done using OBS plugins. So if that's the case, why don't I just uninstall that thing that's taking up so much more computer RAM and space and causing such a heavy drop in FPS, but also it's just so taxing, right, on the computer, and it's decreasing the overall quality of the video portion, the visual portion of our podcasts. So that's what was behind the scenes. And then because of that, I also recognized, the chroma key had to increase the similarity, or decrease the similarity to make it all pop out, right? It was affecting the chroma key as well. Turn off the LUTs. And then myself as a subject, I even noticed that my attire is affecting. So what I'm wearing even affects the whole overall contrast of the scene. So I'm wearing all black today. I ended up, taking a shower. I feel better about that. But that also means that the shirt that's in there, which is usually like a brighter, at least for the past week, it's like a brighter kind of rose color. Now I kind of just match the bench and I can just bleed into the environment behind me. So all these like little things that I had to think about, because they're all like 10 different little things: chroma keying, saturation, hue, learning how to color grade, learning about color correction, all that crap. Even what I'm wearing, right? All this stuff here. And then adding a new image, all tied into uninstalling that software because of the whole, YouCam affecting the FPS and the CPU. Okay, that all aside, okay, that's just another thing altogether. That's just administrative technical bullshit. It's 15 minutes now. I don't know if I can cover this in time. So I'm taking a look here. We'll allude to it, okay? So maybe we'll make a new video on this, okay? But look, at least we have to cover a little bit of it, because I know this topic can be quite heavy. It might bleed into more than one video because it is a health-related thing, and I tend to go ham on stuff like that. So occlusion effect. The occlusion effect, and I googled or I binged reverberating sound in the ear. So this is, that sort of sensation you get, for example, when you're swimming and then your ears get clogged. But in this case, I did not go swimming. It's not swimming, it's a lot worse, in fact. I hear a lot of cracking. It's almost like there's a membrane film that's been tampered with on my left-hand side. So the occlusion effect, it is caused by bone-conducted sound vibrations. And I'm getting the physiologist in me back again from the uni days, but I'm such a STEM nerd and I love this biology stuff and human physiology. Anyways, it's caused by bone-conducted sound vibrations reverberating off the object filling the ear canal. When talking or chewing, these vibrations normally escape through an open ear canal, and most people are unaware of their existence. When the ear canal is blocked, however, the vibrations are reflected back towards the eardrum. Okay? And you can see here other keywords that other people use to search this kind of common problem: reverberation in the ear when talking, vibration in the ear when talking, beeping, how to get pressure out of the ear, ringing in the ear, fluttering in the ear, causes, symptoms, why does my middle ear make a fluttering sound, and so on and so forth. People also asked, what does a rumbling sound in the ear mean, and what causes a fluttering sound? And so here are some common answers. A rumbling sound can be like a sound of rushing air or wind blowing into the ear. A protective mechanism to avoid ear damage is that there's apparently this kind of reflex. You have these muscles that kind of control the tension or the ear canal, the width, the narrowing, and the contraction of your ear canal. So that's the Eustachian canal, I believe. I may have butchered the vocabulary and pronunciation. My bad, but you know what it is. So anyways, that's what that is. Potentially, that's one of the potential causes. It's just an automatic biological, physiological reflex. Another one could be you have tinnitus, right? Tinnitus is that's something that's not normal. It's more like a condition, if anything, I believe. Ringing the ear, so you're not supposed to have that. It's not something that you just have. Fluttering the ear, main causes, and they have all these, so let's just reference some of these here, some basic sites here that are common to searches like this. When you go ahead and, it's important not to self-diagnose, but also to still be aware. It doesn't hurt to do some research as long as you keep a level head on and don't make any strong conclusions about what may or may not have happened. So you can see some common sites here. Usually there's like Wikipedia, there's Healthline, and there's Medical News Today. Like those are just three of the most common ones. And then we go down here further and you can see some pretty graphic imagery. I should probably, well, maybe, I don't know if I want to put an explicit filter on this. It's just some blood, really. I actually want to search for an image. You'll see later on in the next video. For sure, we're going to cover another video on the notion of otitis, which is ear infection in the eardrums, as well as other related topics relating to the eardrums. So there's some imagery here, and I know that in one of the tabs I had actually searched specifically for what an infected eardrum ought to look like, or what does a ruptured or teared eardrum look like. I was interested, and I know that the images are not particularly pleasing. You don't really want to see this, let's be honest, right? It's not like you really want to go to a cadaver. I mean, there is an amazing channel for that if you actually want to see a human anatomist kind of go through, and he's a great, he does a great job at it. I love his channel. Apparently it's called, I believe, the Institute of Human Anatomy. You can search that on YouTube. It's a great channel. All right, so anyways, this is, I know, so if there are images that you don't feel comfortable watching, maybe it's a good idea I leave a little bit of a warning. But I would search this kind of stuff, right? Because I've been a physiologist in academic sense once. Reactive pulsatile reverberating tinnitus. What a long string of words. Hearing problem, right ear reverberation, cracking in the ear. Crackling in the ear, that sounds like what I'm having. So causes, symptoms, remedies, caused by several different conditions, such as the Eustachian tube dysfunction, acute otitis media, or the buildup of earwax. So in other words, something's wrong with the tube, the canal, 2, it could be, you know, an infection, having, you know, the infection having pus and other fluid buildup. And 3 could be, you know, something more normal, like the buildup of earwax that hasn't been emptied. All right, so that's kind of what we'll kind of leave it off at. Sudden muffled hearing in one ear. Blockage occurs. Okay, so what we'll do is just close this, and let's close this one over here and hop on over to the next tab. And that's where we'll end this video, because again, when I tend to do science, biology, medical related stuff, I tend to really go in on this stuff. It's an interest of mine, but it's also just something that I tend to do because PTSD and stuff. Anyways, so that's what, and it's just interesting. I think it's interesting. This is more than a hobby. This could have been my career at one point, I will say. So we'll touch more on this into the next one, so look forward to that one. This is Rishiv. I'm signing out. Thanks for tuning in. If you have ever experienced, you know, have you gone outside? I hope you have. It's a weekday, I would hope so. So what did you do? Did you go to your daily chores? Is it raining where you're at? Is it like sunny? And have you ever had this kind of sensation in your ears before? Have you ever had an ear infection? You know, have you had any experiences that you want to touch upon? Feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories and so on and so forth. Okay, so with that being said, I'm signing out, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out, and look forward to more on otitis.